All you, Ross.
All right. And everybody can hear me, right, at the other stations? Okay. All right. Fantastic. Like Jason was just saying, my name's Ross. I'm a striker. First thing I always like to tell you guys is one, thank you for instilling your guys' trust with us, moving forward with the 35s. Obviously, you guys have used the Lifepak 15 for quite a bit. And the 35, if you have it in front of you, does resemble the 15 quite a bit there. And hopefully this will be an easy process of putting these into play. The first thing I like to start off with, I know it's kind of weird to start this way, but it's things that you guys probably will complain about at the beginning, and we just like to get ahead of it, right? And they're small, okay? So there's a lot of great things, so don't think me just bashing this at the beginning is any different than any other presentation I do. Anyways, so the first thing is our battery location. I'm going to first say that our batteries are better off batteries. You're going to have 4.5 hours as opposed to 3 hours of each individual battery fully charged. But when you go to get them, instead of going in the back where you guys are used to, you're going to actually go in the side pouch right here. And I'm going to purposely not zip it all the way and try to remove a battery. And it's very difficult. Okay. So what we are going to ask is for you to zip the pouch all the way open like so to remove your battery. And then you simply just pull it out like so. Okay. Again, like I was saying, 4.5 hours a piece when fully charged here. All right. Does anybody have any questions or concerns with the battery location? Obviously, I know it's not ideal, but it was manufactured this way. I'm assuming for space and trying to make it as small as we possibly can. All right. So the second thing that I'm gonna kind of say negative about the device is this is currently temporary. We are going through a software update on our blood pressure, and what we are asking for you guys to do is after you're done, finished with your run, and you power the device off, we're simply asking you guys. Well, mine's not plugged in right now, but
yeah.
Oh, need further. Okay. You guys see there? There we go. We're simply asking you guys to just remove the hose of the blood pressure. And I'll explain why here in a second. But I do want to say it one more time. This is temporary. And it's something I think we could potentially have fixed before you guys even put it in service. So here is one of my tacky jokes. When doing the blood pressure, it does a soft test, and it will just push a little air into the blood pressure hose, and the air gives it an air. So they're all day. It's funny the third time, right? Yeah. But that is very temporary, and that'll be hopefully ideally fixed before you guys have that into service. But if it is not, obviously that's what we're going to ask for you guys to do. Okay. All right. Now I've kind of said two negatives about this device. Obviously you guys didn't buy this device to go backwards. We bought it to go forwards, right? So I'm going to point out a handful of things that I think will be extremely beneficial for you guys with patient care. The first thing we're going to start with is the screen. When we first launched this, we've had a lot of people say, hey, this is a touch screen. I've broken a phone, I've broken a tablet. How's this any different? It's a different type of material, so I would think more of like a window as opposed to your phone or tablet, right? We used to throw these down steps. I've got a meeting tomorrow, and I would look a little goofy if I showed up with a cracked screen. But what would you guys do if the screen was cracked? you guys have a service agreement with us, and you guys would contact us. Jeremy is your service tech. He's probably literally one of the best in the country, and he's going to swap those out. Okay. If you're on a run and the screen breaks, if you guys notice, we have left the speed dial right here for you guys to navigate through your screen. Okay. Now, locally, there's close to 20 departments that have these in service. And what I would say is we've not had one break yet. And again, my big thing is it's a matter of if it's going to break, it will break eventually. And just know we have your guys back. We'll get it corrected or fixed. And then please just obviously utilize your speed dial there. Things that I've heard otherwise is even with a cracked screen, we've had some departments outside of the greater Cincinnati area that when it was cracked, they were still able to utilize it and continue the run. Okay, with touchscreen. The other piece of it is I'm going to have gloves on. There's going to be liquid on, that is going to get on the monitor. Gloves, no issue at all. Please put some gloves on and test it. A little bit of liquid, not a huge issue. A lot of bit of liquid, please have a towel or revert back to your speed dial. So, cool. All right. Does anybody have any questions or concerns on anything I've touched on the screen before I move forward?
You don't mind, I do have a quick question about the screen. Is there like a dark mode?
Yes. Oh, yes. Great question. What you guys will actually see when you turn on the device, it will look like this. But it's doesn't show up off the camera, so it's what we have in SunView.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. So when you turn on the device, what's really cool about the 35 as opposed to the 15 is you will actually be able to make it as busy as you guys want, or you guys can make it as clean as you guys want. Notice on my screen now, I have SPO2, NIVP, and we have pads that will default. Now, the 15, everything would show up no matter what. Your SPO2 and title, it would all be on there. But if I wanted to remove anything because I have these plugged in, I can simply take off the whatever parameter. You can tap here, hit remove, and all I'm doing is tapping on whichever parameter I wanted to have removed, and then hit OK. Now I'm going to show that probably 2 more times. Sorry for the repetitiveness, but it's something we really want to get the point across. But I do want to touch on the leads before diving into that a little bit more. Like I was saying, it will default to leads, to pads. Something we are working on where we could program it for you guys to have whichever leads you want just to pop up automatically. But right now it's currently with pads. So if I wanted to, and I'm going to remove SPO2 just because I like to show. If you do not have anything else plugged in, you can actually have a total of 5 leads that will pop up on the screen. Okay. And what's really cool about this is if you wanted to pick where each lead goes, you can literally click on it, drag it, move it up or down. Okay. Something small, but I think something pretty powerful with the leads. And if I wanted to make it less busy, again, all I'm doing is tapping on the leads and bringing them back and picking and choosing whatever I want there. Okay. Now, as I plug in SPO2 and title or blood pressure, you'll notice it will start to eat up the leads at the bottom and work its way to the top. Okay. Like so. But if I wanted to make it very busy, I can come back here to my leads and I can actually put 4 total leads, and then they will minimize down at the bottom and you can still move your leads around. Okay. The other piece is if you wanted to move, say like blood pressure or end title, you can move those around. And vice versa, if you didn't have as many leads, you can move those up. But it's not going to let you go over the leads because we want you guys, your eyes to be looking at, we want that to be prioritized number 1 up at the top. All right. Does everybody feel pretty comfortable on that, or does anybody have any questions?
Well, those, if you don't unplug them, can you still get rid of them on the screen?
No, you
So
would
you have to have them unplugged.
you would need to unplug it to remove it. Yes.
So if you're, for example, your pulse ox is on your patient's finger. And then it's off, it's saying it's not working, it's gonna start alarming, just unplug it and plug it back in. And if you don't want to deal with that anymore, like that function, like SPO2, pull it out and then click on the screen and hit remove.
Yeah.
But that remove button won't populate.
Unless
until
it's
that-
unless it's unplugged.
Correct.
Okay.
And the fives have a question. Go ahead, fives.
Does it default to a certain set standard every use, or is it based on the last time it was turned on?
So it will, if nothing is plugged in, nothing will pop up. If once you plug in like your leads, that will default to pads right now. And what we are trying to push our engineers to allow us to do is to have, like, if you guys wanted, I'm just going to use V1, V2. Yeah, we would want that to populate up, and then you guys could move it around after that. But currently now, it will always default to pads. But if you don't have end title, or if you don't have blood pressure or SpO2 in, they will not populate up if you don't, right when you power it on. It will not populate up if it's not plugged in. If it is plugged in, it'll populate up immediately. Does that answer it?
Yeah,
Or did I?
well, I was just trying to figure out if it's all, so let's say it's all plugged in, is it gonna keep a standard layout like the order that you see now, or is it gonna be based on the last time somebody had everything plugged in and turned them on?
Oh, gotcha. It'll be how it is right now. It's not like how the last time was used. It will always default to that specific way. Pads, top, I believe end title. I think I may have moved these around. I think SPO2 may go up to the top, and then end title and a VP at the bottom.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so I'm going to show everybody when you do remove them. And again, I'm sorry, I'm going to do this like 3 times, but this was something when we've put these in. We've had a lot of departments say this monitor talks to us a lot. And what we want to get across is when it's talking to you, it's because that specific thing needs attention, right? It could be a kinked hose. It could, you could have cut a hose. It could be your pulse ox connection, maybe from the RC cable to the finger probe got disconnected, and now it's not getting a reading. So essentially it's saying, hey, I was getting a reading, now I'm not. What's going on? Can you look at this? So we'll start with end title, and all I'm doing in the background, I know you guys can't see this, is I'm just untwisting and removing end title. Okay, that's and then it'll populate up. It'll say ETCO2 tubing disconnected. Okay, so it will continue to alarm until you acknowledge it, either 1, having it plugged back in, or 2, just going through the removal process. So what I'm going to do is end title is the orange piece right here. So I'm just going to tap on the side here. I'm going to go over to remove and then just hit OK. All right. And that will silence it. Again, I know this probably feels very like, yeah, dude, we get it. Like, but I just want to show it one more time. We're taking blood pressure. So we had a reading. It realizes it was disconnected. I'm tapping, tapping blood pressure and then hitting remove. and I believe Jason was saying that earlier, if I wanted to remove like SPO2, because it's not removed, notice it doesn't pop, like there's not an issue with it, it will not populate up to remove. Cool. Everybody good here? Everybody good at the other stations? All right, see a couple thumbs up. All right, awesome. We're gonna go into adding the patient's name, okay? So, right, you power it on. You know, say if you get you know, start hooking up to the patient, you start getting their information from them. Before it was kind of a pain to type in the patient's name all the way, right? Because we had that speed dial that was kind of tough to navigate. You'd miss one and then you end up going back all the way back over. We finally came up to the 21st century, and I know it's kind of hard to see on screen there, but all I'm doing is tapping new patient right here, okay? So I'm tapping new patient at the top, and then I'm gonna set this back. And the patient's information will be very easy to plug in. Obviously, you got first name, last name, etc. And all you got to do is tap right here, first name, and we've got a touch screen to just simply go in and utilize it just like you're used to with your phones or your tablets. Now, if you would like, we did leave the speed dial open, so if you wanted to navigate through, you certainly can, but or you just come down here and just type in your patient's name, okay? The other piece is if you keep scrolling down a little bit, you can plug in the patient's sex and age, and that's one less thing you got to do later on when you're taking a 12 or 15 lead. And then also with the weight, if you wanted to, you could plug in the patient's weight and it'll calculate it for you guys into kilograms.
Less stuff transfer over your report from the monitor.
It'll send over just like a just like your typical PCR would, like it'll be like kind of PDF. As far as like you typing that in and then being able to like go back in and correct it, we're still not there yet. I do think we will be there sooner than later, but yeah, that's us and ESO or us and who you guys using right now?
Soul right now,
Soul.
but it will be, so.
That's our data team talking to their data team and getting that. So which I think will be really nice. So that way you're not having to do everything repetitive, which when you kind of look at it, like I feel like we do a lot of things repetitively, that it could be streamlined, but the answer is no right now, but hopefully yes here in the future. So right next to information up here at the top, there's also an events list. This is any kind of vital signs that you guys have taken. And instead of, have to like look back at it or only seeing it when you transmit or, or print out, first transmit, shouldn't say print, but that's just a quick, almost similar to like archives mode to go look back what you guys have kind of captured here. So, and that was simply by going up to your top left corner and tapping new patient. Okay. All right. Does everybody feel good on that? Everybody good? Awesome. All right. This part, again, kind of boring, but I saved the best for the last. That way we can get through the boring stuff first and then show you some stuff I think you guys will actually really, really like. That's hopefully making life much easier. But in your bottom left corner, there is a little sub menu. Okay. So the first thing is lock screen. If I were you guys, I would never use that option, but your call. You can lock the screen. It's just one extra step. And then it'll go to the top of the screen where you have to literally slide over, kind of like how the old iPhone used to be, like when it first came out before facial recognition or thumbprint. Okay. Brightness, we kind of touched on this before, but this is how your device will look like normally, okay, with a darker screen. But this is the sun view because it's showing up much clearer on the streaming. Volume, unless you all want, I was gonna say, unless you guys want to hear on noises. No, yeah, I would say, but you can turn those on if you want. Again, remember, so there will be a couple times that I may reference this. We sell this in both the hospital and pre-hospital, so yeah, where they may want something similar to it. All right, so transmit and then streaming is something new. So transmit, nothing new here, right? You guys have a list of hospitals that Jason went and organized and put up the most prioritized ones up at the top. So you guys should be able to just simply open that up and hit whatever hospital you need to transmit to. I'm also going to show you an easier way to transmit when you're taking a 12 or 15 lead. But this would be for your vitals or your EPCR or whatever that you need to send over. Streaming is something new that we have. So we're waiting on a few hospitals to update their LifeNet systems. We're hoping that happens sometime this year, but you guys will actually literally be able to stream directly to the hospital what's going on in real time on your device. Okay, so the other part of it is internally that you guys will be able to stream in real time what's going on, whether it's to Jason, whether it's to your med director, whomever, but you basically will plug in, it's kind of like you're hitting transmit, but you just pick a site and it'll stream directly to somebody. I'll let Jason put his spin on how Westchester works.
So the way we're gonna operate with streaming, hospitals don't currently have this in place. Like Ross alluded to, we're hopeful that hospitals will start to take this on. Christ Hospital, I would anticipate, will be the first one. They're actively looking at it. But with that being said, for us, any cardiac arrest or alert patient or some critical patient that you think it would be worthwhile streaming is what I'm going to ask you to stream. Yes, I can see this in real time on my phone, but that's not the primary goal of this. The primary goal of this is to get us acquainted with this process as we have a rollout of a new product, because this will be what we're doing in the future. So we're just going to hit the ground running with it now. And then it will also give us accessibility for Dr. Richards. And Kelly, Dr. Tillotson has it as well. So with Dr. Richards, though, if he's working as an attending at Westchester Hospital, he hears Westchester Medic 75 is coming in with some critical patient or a cardiac arrest with Ross, then he could actually pull out his cell phone today and pull that up and see what's going on before you even arrive to the doors of the ED. To me, this is cutting edge. To me, this is the future of medicine. So this is the process we're going to be doing. In the background, the other way that we're going to utilize the streaming function is it will save your entire record, where we can see the monitor, see the EKGs, we can see the events, we can see pretty much everything you do at any time with this monitor. And we can utilize that for QA/QI. We can utilize that for training with case studies off of actual Westchester cases. And these are saved to the Stryker cloud for 60 days post-incident. So a lot of times, a couple of nights ago, for an example, we had a blood pressure with abnormality call that Engine 72, Medic 71 went on. And then the guy ended up being in a junctional rhythm and he was in cardiogenic shock. And it was a great teaching run, especially for our newer paramedics. So on my phone, I was able to pull up the EKG, pull up the vitals, and then when they asked questions, we all sat around and talked about it at the table, looking at that stuff. Gives us full accessibility to see this quickly and efficiently and really build our system even better than we already are today. So that's the goals of it. I don't want it to be anticipated that Big Brother's watching or anything goofy like that. This isn't about that. Could it be utilized for that? Sure, I get it. But this is about making us better, having better performance metrics, and backing you up. If you arrive at a hospital and say, oh, they're like, oh, well, you didn't intubate in the right spot, but you had capnant the whole time, we're going to be able to show in a playback that you had capnant going the whole time. and things like that. So there's beneficial things to you as a provider as well. So that's the big thing on streaming, but to finish this part up, any cardiac arrest, any alert patient, those are what I want streamed right now at any point. If you do not go streaming and you go to transmit, which we'll hit on again here in a minute, it also will give me that snapshot of that playback for the whole incident once you transmitted that 12 lead. So this data has been out there. We have code stat running as well. So all these performance metrics have been there, I'll say. They're just even more prevalent and easier to access now. And we'll have that ability for the hospital to see in real time what we're doing too.
Manny says it way better. And guys, I just want to show you, I mean, literally you just tap streaming, you pick a site, and you guys only have one site right on there.
Yeah, well, so it's all the sites because all the hospitals,
Well-
but the site that you're gonna select is called Stream.
It's sort of, yeah, so it's,
I'm gonna put it at the top and I'm gonna put it in all caps. Right now it's one capital and lowercase, but it will be.
so there's just
Stream.
one streaming site.
Yeah.
So when that populates up, I think it should just pop.
And it's other sites as well.
Oh, it'll bring those two,
Yeah.
okay.
But so we would only do stream for like Richards and you and Kelly to be able to see it, right?
Yeah,
So
so,
we get on and see stream and then that's what they.
yeah, and then there's a button that will populate up in the top right hand corner. It's a gray box. It'll say stop streaming. And you can either turn the monitor off or you can click stop streaming when you're done. But outside of that, it doesn't, in transparency, like I know people think I'm just gonna sit around all day and watch this. It doesn't alert my phone, right? So I don't get an alert to my phone, at current.
Yeah.
It's just there. So if I have it up and I see a blue oval populating with a red flashy light and I click on it, now I'm in your monitor watching what you're doing.
It'd be like if you heard a bad run come out, then you
Yeah.
would just pull it up. and watch
Correct. A lot more of this is gonna be for that playback function. So when I was at the twos this morning, we were messing around with the monitor. And right now on my phone, I can play that playback and I can show you and say, hey, here you go.
it. If we only have one streaming, why do we have all the other ones up there?
Because that list is the same list as your transmit list.
Oh, okay.
It'll go to, yeah, and eventually the hospitals will all have those, so it'll make sense here. But yeah, like I said, it's labeled stream. It'll look way different than any of the hospital characters, so. Awesome. All right, anybody have any additional questions? Sorry, before. Anybody at the other stations? Everybody good? All right, see some thumbs up. All right, so we're gonna work our way down the menu. Below that is, you can print the report. If you notice, mine's kind of grayed out. It's just because this does print a lot of paper. So when you're doing and trying to talk over the printer, I just pop my printer out so it doesn't start printing anything. Care record is the exact same way to get in to add in a new patient. Okay, just different way to do it. And then systems. So systems here is going to let you know what's going on with your device, your battery. Then I didn't update yesterday, like I said I was. You know, it's good though, because everybody can see what needs that. So if you have something like this, like readiness, like it wants you to do either maybe like a check log, or it could be an update. It could be a number of different things. And when I talk about updates, it could be something that Stryker's sending you guys. Jason will get an email that'll say, you know, we've got this software update. Please update all your devices. Or it could be a change in a medication or a treatment or a site or a stream site. And all that means is when that is populated there, we want you guys going to options and then into setup mode right there. All of these options will take you into different, it'll take you out of live feed, I guess is the best way to say it. Kind of like archive mode, which is in there. You guys know when you go into archive mode with the 15, you're basically like, all right, this device is this kind of not shutting down, but it's going into a completely different mode. So you would go into setup mode, literally just hit accept, it would update it, you power it on, you power it off, and bam, you're updated, whether it's a new medication, treatment, site, or anything. So that's pretty powerful, especially with the department of your guys' size. Jason can go online, change something, and then have it sent over the air. Before, he would have to go to each individual device, change it, marry it up to LifeNet, and then it would populate up that way. That would take like an entire day, right? For some to find, and as busy as you guys are, to try to locate each and every one of those monitors. So some would get missed and some wouldn't get updated the way the others were. While we walk through this, the top shift check is when you guys do like your load test, like your daily stuff, right? Load test, you'll notice it'll still get your 3 a.m. printout. Shift check is something that we've added, that we've asked you guys to do. Sorry, don't shoot the messenger, but we're testing the pixels, we're testing the touchscreen. It's just an extra piece that we're going through and making sure that monitor is 100% ready to rock and roll when you guys power it on the rest of the day. So
For our daily check, we will be utilizing the shift check section here. It takes like 2 minutes to go through. It's not long. Asks all our applicable questions, gives you the fields for like calibration in 5 different spots on the screen, since it is touch screen, to make we're all set up and ready to go. It'll have you press every button, the shock button, so it senses all of that, turn the speed dial clockwise and counterclockwise. It's just making sure the monitor is fully functional. So still have its 3 a.m. test, which we left at 3 a.m. We can't adjust that time. That's worked for us, so why change it? And then you'll have your load test. There's a load tester, the black box that's labeled with the same label of that monitor. So every monitor will have their own load tester, because we have 10 of those. And then you'll run your shift check. So
Will that do the transmission test as well in the shift check, or is that separate?
it won't do the transmission test, so you would have that as well. Good call.
and then so below that is your archives mode. Nothing new there besides we added a passcode. All right. The passcode is 00.
00000. 6 zeros. Just keep typing 0.
Yeah.
Anytime you need a passcode on this device, just keep pushing 0 until you can't type anymore, and that's your passcode. So it's got a passcode.
So I apologize for the extra step, but it's FDA wanted us to put that on, more HIPAA privacy, right? We don't want somebody just to be able to log in here and look at any kind of patient information. And yeah, we figured that was going to be the easiest in case somebody ever called us. That's a lot of people are utilizing all zeros. So that way it's like, hey, you try all zeros. If not, we'd have to reset it, and then you'd have to go through setting it up again. So, and then I already talked about setup mode, and service mode is when our guys come in and are working on the equipment. So cool. All right. Now we're going to some more interesting topics, I would say. So we're going to start with events first. You guys utilize, and when I say talk about all these topics, look at the bottom of the screen, and I would say that's like your taskbar, okay, of like if you're comparing it to a computer. And we're going to start, like I was saying, with events. So right now, if you guys usually hit that generic event button quite a bit, right? Then you're usually writing it on your hand, writing it on a sheet of paper, or whatever your guys' move is. We have left that. It's the flag with the little circle around it. And you can still timestamp everything very generically. Okay. But there is an event key here. And when you tap that, you will hit what will populate up is quick buttons, quick events, medications, and treatments. Quick buttons, you have 4 basically timed events that you guys can put in there. So like epi right here, I'm going to tap it, and then I'm going to go back into it. And if you notice, it's got it's not very clear right there, but it's got a countdown. You guys have 4 minutes. This one's programmed to 3. This is my demo device. But when it gets to about 30 seconds left, so when 30 seconds, it'll pop up here in your top right corner, and you'll hear that little sound, not like the loud annoying one, but the one just with the events. And it'll start counting down. It'll give you a check mark or an X mark. Okay, so it's basically a timer that'll continuously run for you guys if you continuously hit the check mark, and obviously you're time stamping it at that point. So again, something small, but I think very powerful, because you're not constantly looking at your watch. It's just one less distraction. It's all right here in the monitor. But yeah, you can have a total of 4 there, and it'll just alarm you. If you hit X, it'll exit out of it. Okay, and then you'd have to, if you were administering that medication, or if you're administering that whatever protocol that you wanted to be timed, you'd have to go back in and do that. Okay. Next to it, I feel like did that get like blurrier?
But I'm not sure.
If there we go. That's better. And that was complete dumb luck, just moving it back. So below it is quick events. So this is going to be your most commonly used, whether it's a drug or any kind of event that you guys would want to have put on there. These are all very customizable. Any like suggestions or anything, I would definitely contact Jason to say, hey, have we thought about putting this in? But we limit that number to 7. That way you guys would, when you guys click on it, it immediately is like, it's not like a long list that you got to scroll through, and it's just your 7 most commonly used. All right. Below that is medications and treatments. Okay. Pretty self-explanatory there, but I do want to just let you guys know you can put 40 medications and 40 treatments. It's a lot of stuff. And we have, obviously your little search bar that you can type in, or you can utilize your speed dial to kind of navigate going up or down. Okay. But nothing really out of the ordinary there. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm assuming that's alphabetical, the treatments.
You guys can make them however you guys want to.
Adjust it all.
Yeah.
Like when it's used or.
Yeah, so my plan on this is, I don't wanna make it too cumbersome, right? But like in treatments, potentially adding like BVM and IO access, things like that. Where when we're working a critical call or a cardiac arrest type case, you could go into treatments and it's time stamping a log and all that, where it'll transfer, especially when we go to ESO. But then what that takes in the background is working with ESO saying, hey, if I word it or code it X, then X transfers to X on the PCR. So I'm hopeful of that. One thing I did want to hit, and it's kind of a sidebar to this, with the transmit function. We're used to where we have that Bluetooth connectivity between the monitor and Zoll for the PCR. When we do go to ESO, I will click a function in the monitor in the background that anytime you turn it off, it will auto send your case. So then that won't be Bluetooth anymore. It goes to the cloud through Wi-Fi. So then you could have Tower 73s on the scene. They have their monitor in there. They're doing their stuff. And then you start on the way to the hospital. They turn their monitor off, and you can click up from anywhere and grab that case, and it will be listed as Tower 73. So on that case list, and we'll cover this again when this actually were to happen and go live with ESO, but whatever that label is on that monitor, so like yours is engine 71, then it would say that record's from engine 71. You grab that, and then when you get to the hospital, you turn your monitor off. You're going to go grab Medic 71s,
Yeah.
And you can upload that in the
You can
PCR
do
too.
multiple.
Yeah. There's another product I'm looking at, which we want to talk about today, that we would be able to do this as well.
You can get it from the cloud from any computer, right?
What's that?
You can get on the cloud from any computer, right? It doesn't have to be a tablet.
Yeah, as long as it's the PCR program, as long as ESO is pulled up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'll wait till. Is that you guys?
No, it is, but it's the medic.
Okay. All right.
It's witty.
All right. So, anybody have any questions on events? Pretty small, but pretty powerful stuff, in my opinion, right? But, so, what we're gonna jump into is 12 lead right here. So I'm gonna hit 12 lead like so. And what will pop up is oh, you should is all your leads right here. Okay. We have the ability to take a 15 lead now. And so you've got your traditional 12 lead right here. And then if I scroll down, and I know Jason's gonna have another class on everything with 15 lead. And we definitely would want to help on anything that we could provide. But things that I want to get across now is, right, if you were taking a right-sided 15 lead, right, you would print it out, or move the lead over, print it out, cross it out, and then you take a picture and you'd send it over to the hospital or to whomever needed it. But now, since we do have those 3 extra leads, you've got A1, A2, and A3, and you can literally just click on each one, and then you can plug in V3R, V4R, V5R, V7, V8, and V9. So wherever you guys are placing the lead, please just make sure it's labeled, right? You can go just taking a right-sided, just taking a posterior. You can do 2 and 1, 1 and 2, however which way you guys would want to. Sorry, I shouldn't have been talking over that. So just make sure it's labeled correctly. And then what you're going to do is come over here to acquire, and you're just going to simply hit acquire. It's going to ask for the sex and the age. And then also it does ask if you could put race and reasoning, but you can also literally just hit OK and skip it. And I'm going to explain that. While it takes about 8 to 10 seconds to acquire a 12 or 15 lead. So with our new Glasgow algorithm, all that matters is age and sex. Okay. What we are hoping for in our next algorithm is that we can factor race in, and that way we can truly dial in on every individual patient, and just continue to specialize in each specific patient. Okay.
Sex at birth.
Yeah, yes, correct. Sex at birth is going to be what is requested. So when your 12 or 15 lead populates up, you can literally click on each individual lead, and what we're saying is on the bottom rhythm strip, you can identify what's going on with your patient with that specific lead. So we offer it with a printer. You guys still have a printer. It's still going to print out the 100mm paper like you guys are used to. It's just going to be coming out the back instead of the front, because we wanted to have the screen as big as possible, and that's why the printer's placed where it's at. But like I said, you can scroll through, choose any lead, and it'll populate up down here. Okay. We've added digital calipers for your measurement, so you can utilize those. You can grab it by the I want to call them the Mickey ears, or you can move them back and forth, and you can actually, if you wanted to, you can march on, move that for measurement. Okay. So again, maybe you guys might not use it, maybe you do. We sell this in the hospital as well, so it could be something that may be a little bit easier to read when you're not in the back of a moving squad. So you do have the ability to transmit. Like I was saying before, there's an easier way to transmit when you're taking a 12 lead. Just hit your transmit button, select what you want to send, and obviously who you want to send it to, okay?
And ours will be pre-populated, it currently is, and will be pre-populated, send complete, and that's just saying we're sending them everything.
And I think that's probably what you guys had with the 15s as well.
Yeah.
Um, so pretty, so you guys should be used to that stuff, like, right, it's very similar to what you guys are using with the 15 now. But this is something cool that we have. I can try to time this out, right, so I don't, it's our STJ Insight Graph, okay? So right next to transmit is analysis. And what this does is essentially gives you, oh, I knew I was gonna, I was waiting for it to go take another 12 lead. But what this will do is it'll give you a snapshot in a graph form of what's going on with your patient here as well. Right, we plugged a 50-year-old male in, and it's hard to see on the screen, but there's like a little gray. I know you guys you can see it on here, but there's a little gray, like underneath like shaded area, and obviously anything that is above that or below that, it's just telling you where your ST elevation or depression is at. Okay, it's a tool. If you guys are like, hey, I don't want to use this, I'm used to what I'm used to, right? Like just looking at your waveforms, by all means, have it print out, read it that way. But this is just an easier graph version that gives you a little breakdown. And they've done a great job at putting all your leads up top and obviously labeling them literally where they are at on the body as well. So.
On our printouts, you will get your 12 lead and or 15 lead. At the bottom of that, one change is it will give you that lead 2, like you would see in a hospital EKGs where you get a full printout of lead 2. So even more so than before, just do the 12 lead, do the EKG, full EKG, because you're going to have that 3 lead and a 12 lead all on one page that prints out. And then I do have it set to give us the analysis view on that printout as well. Obviously, that won't be in color, but you can still see it pretty well. And it'll give you your readout. So you get this full picture when that prints out.
Yep. And yep, it's perfect. Like that's gonna print out on your paper. Like you're saying, that's gonna get sent to your PCR. That's gonna get sent to the hospital that you're selected to. So, anybody have any questions or concerns? Anybody at the other stations? All right. We're gonna move to therapy really quick. So all I did was come here, I clicked therapy, and if you guys notice, you'll have defibrillation, you'll have cardio sync and pacing. Okay. I'm gonna kind of work our way backwards, and we won't spend too much time on pacing or sync, but all I did was come. So I'm in my home screen, and then I just hit therapy. All right, so we're gonna start with pacing. You guys have this programmed, I should know it by now. Is it 60 or 70?
It's 70. So
70. All right.
So per the protocol, we start anywhere between 60 and 80 beats per minute. So it's set to start at 70, and our milliamps per the protocol is 20 is where our starting point is. So that's 20. So where this one says 60 and 0 R's, you'll see 70 and 20. So it's tied to the protocol.
So if you need to increase your current, your rate, or your energy level, I was just like showing that there's 3 ways. You can literally grab here, move your current up. You can go to your arrows up or down, go up or down. Obviously same with rate, or you can come over here and grab it with your speed dial and move it up or down. Okay, so 3 ways to get there. I would say, pretty self-explanatory on there, but just we like to show you guys how to increase or decrease. Your pause button, right? Nothing new there. Just know it's, you know, obviously with it being a touch screen, it's just a little bit different than pushing that button in. And then if obviously if you guys need to stop, you can. And then I always like to show if you try to leave anything, it's still with pacing is always going to say, hey, guys, remember you're pacing a patient. Pacing isn't something you guys do on a daily basis, right? So if you hit this little question mark, it will pop up and it will give you a very generic version of what essentially you guys are trying to capture. We are asking that we could more customize this. So like Jason could go in and just type in Westchester's protocol. We're not there yet, but we're pushing for that. And I think that would be a pretty powerful piece to do. But again, it's just something extra to help you remind you guys of what you're trying to capture. Same here. Just hit that generic question mark, and it's going to give you these generic settings for synchronized cardioversion. Okay. And then same with energy level, up or down. And then I did not get an answer yet if we can program that.
So currently, and what Ross was about to allude to when he said he didn't get an answer yet, right now our sync is set at 360. Reason being is because that and the defib setting is the exact same. So like right now, if Ross said 75, let's say, on synchronized cardioversion, and then he clicks the defib button, his dual setting's still gonna be 75. So what I'm trying to get it to is 100 for sync, where it's preset for us, because it worked for wide or narrow. I'm at 100 because narrow is 50 to 100 and then wide's 100, so 100 sounds feasible. And where it'd be different than the dual setting for the defibrillation, right? So the defibrillation for us will be 360 every time. Stryker says 200, 300, 360. Medical director myself saying 360. It's biphasic. It's shocking what it wants to shock based off of the impedance and blah, 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 right? So right now, though, just know you will see that says 360 when you're messing around with the monitors. No, I'm working on it. If they were to go live before we have an answer in the next few weeks, then you'll just have to dial that down to that 100. And we'll hit with this again. It's this crawl, walk, run approach. So this isn't the one and only training. We're doing mega codes next week. We're going to do another training. Like we're going to keep this process going to make sure we're all squared away before this goes live.
Yeah, you guys haven't got rid of me this easy. I'll be back, or some of your Stryker will be. All right, we're gonna go into defibrillation. So this is something new that we do. We have the offer. It's called CPR Insight. And if you guys notice, it's that middle piece right here. And what I'm gonna do is toggle on our CPR Insight. I'm gonna activate it, and then I'm gonna hit Start CPR, and then I'm gonna silence this. Okay, because nobody wants to listen to that metronome. So it'll have you guys do a 2-minute cycle, like what we're all used to. And what CPR Insight is, it's an FDA approved algorithm that will determine look at the underlying rhythm and determine if it's a shockable rhythm or non-shockable rhythm. Okay. So there is about 70% of the time it will come back and it will give you that, hey, this is shockable, hey, this is not shockable. 30% of the time we factor in because of like maybe patient movement. It could come back as inconclusive. Okay. When it comes back as inconclusive, you guys just revert back to how you guys run your typical codes. Okay. If it does come back shockable, it is very accurate. It's 96% accurate on shockable and 98% accurate on non-shockable rhythms. Okay. This is not new technology. It's been in our AED. It's like this little white lid AED. I know they're throughout the township. And it's been out for about 7 years. Okay. So how is this going to benefit you guys? is the last like 30 seconds of the 2-minute rhythm. It will essentially get put through the algorithm. It'll analyze it, and then it'll start charging up if it's a shockable rhythm, or if it's not, it obviously won't do anything. And it'll ideally result in less hands-off time for you guys CPR. Now I'm trying to time this up because I know it's gonna get really loud here in a second.
Do you hear?
I didn't touch anything. Obviously, we still. I'm sorry. I was just about to say. So you guys as a clinician, if you disagree with it, right, you're the one signing this piece of paper. So if you're like, that is definitely, not a shockable rhythm, just hit your speed dial, just push that in. So that's been the same with the 15 to dump your charge. Obviously vice versa. If you're like, hey, this is a shockable rhythm that's telling me not to shock, then bam, just charge up like you guys are used to. So obviously we still want you guys, like you guys utilize the Lucas. Still want you guys, you guys will pause, Lucas, do your checks. We as a company have a stance that we are saying, hey, you could essentially leave that run, but we, Westchester protocol will have.
First.
Yeah, and I'll let Jason put his.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do here, the idea is when you arrive on that cardiac arrest, you're gonna turn your monitor on. Can you tilt it down so they can see the timer at the top?
Oh, yeah.
So you're gonna turn on your monitor. When you turn on your monitor, that clock at the top, I have set to start counting up. So there's your 30-minute timer for you, right? So right when you turn on your monitor, like it's been on for 1 hour and 7 minutes and 28 seconds right now. So that's gonna be our 30-minute timer. So you're gonna click that bottom right corner where therapy was. You're gonna hit that CPR insight button on in the middle. Then you're gonna hit start compressions. That's your 2-minute timer. So we have our 2-minute timer and our 30-minute timer built into the monitor now. If you did want to go to a different time, if Ross clicks on the time at the top, it's going to go to actual time. Ours is the same way. If he clicks that time again, it'll go back to counting.
So we'll have to basically take.
Yep. We won't need cell phones anymore for run times. We won't need to set timers with dispatch, because once you turn on that monitor, that's your 30-minute timer, we're on, right? So, but this will be our 2-minute timer. You'll have the epi running our 4-minute timer, et cetera, et cetera. So taking everybody and having everybody operate in a like way is way more successful with the way that this device is.
So you can have the EPIs up there doing its timer and then this, so that's multiple timers.
Yep. And then we could even run, if I set times on any of those other 3 categories,
Like there
we could have those going
Yeah,
too.
okay.
So with this monitor being much more involved and having more of these kinds of tools, are we gonna really lean into during a code, having a person leading the code, being in control of the monitor, and that's their job?
Yeah, so that person, you'll have a person running that monitor, right? Like, it's like, hey, we're 50 seconds out from the next pulse and rhythm check. We're up at epi, we're due for epi, like we already have it pulled up, and then they give that epi, then we hit the checkbox, right? And then it restarts our 4-minute timer for epi. So yeah, a lot of your cardiac arrest will operate through this, and then it should all transition over to your PCR. So we have our timestamps. You still have to get your demographics, that current history, that kind of stuff. But all your vitals, all your treatments, medications, that should all dump right in for us. So yeah, whoever's on the monitor, they're dictating a report.
Yeah, so
Right.
the guy on the monitor, his hands or her hands are on the monitor and delegating everybody else's task. It's not like you're on the monitor and then take the certain and give them that.
That's the ideal situation, CPR concept, right? Yep, 100%, good call. So with this though, what we aren't comfortable at, and Russ alluded to this a little bit, is we're gonna go through this process. it's gonna do its thing. If it says you're shocking based off that underlying rhythm, you're probably shocking. But we have good paramedics for a reason, and you're expected to perform, right? So we're gonna pause that, Lucas. Pulse, yes or no? Shockable, not shockable. If it's shockable, you agree, you hit shock. If it's not shockable, you hit the dial in and dump the charge and start your compressions back up. Same thing we've been teaching for the past few years, just if it's another checks and balances to help us catch maybe a shockable rhythm if we didn't pre-charge the monitor, it's gonna say, hey, it's coming, right? And then you just agree or disagree and then perform as a paramedic. There's nothing, if you look at that rhythm and say, oh, this isn't shockable, and you dump that, okay. Right?
As long as you can justify it.
Yeah, can you justify it? Right? And again, with their efficacy or the success rate in layman terms of it being accurate, it's pretty dang high. So if it says, I mean, you don't really see that, right? But it got FDA approval because of those percentages. So if it says it's shockable or it says it's not shockable, the system's probably right. But you're the provider, you're the professional, and then we'll perform that way.
Yeah, it's still you guys make that decision, right? We want you guys as a clinician making that decision.
This isn't telling us what to do. It's a tool giving us a recommendation,
You're
but it's our
Yes.
decision.
you're absolutely right. That's
If we weren't able to see the rhythm by pausing, it would be off. Some departments out there, and you'll hear this out about. Some departments have like. I still think it's beneficial for us to utilize this, but I still expect for you to perform as a paramedic and good, like I know we can.
Yeah.
to me, it's an extra set of eyes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, it's you have the final say. So, the last thing I always kind of like to show is when you guys are, say you guys get a pediatric patient, what you can do is actually go down to alarms here. It's right under that energy level, but say if you're on your home screen, it's right next to therapy. And if you look, it says adult, pediatric, or neonate. You can actually just switch it right over to a pediatric mode. Obviously, get the right blood pressure cuff, nasal cannulas, and just go out with your guys' typical pediatric protocol. Now it will, we've got that defaulted to like energy level for you guys. I think it's 50, 75, 90.
Yeah.
So that is there. Now, question was asked, I think it was 2 days ago, what defines a pediatric? We don't not put an age on it. It's really for you guys to, it's really more size based. Then you guys make that decision as a clinician.
And that's gonna be protocol based.
Yep.
Adult or P.
So, but again, all I did was come down here, alarms, chose pediatric and or adult, but it's always going to default to adult. So even though I have this on pediatric now, when I turn that off, turn it back on, it'll be adult. And that's all I got. I'll shut up. I've already been, how long are we? An hour and 15 minutes or 2 minutes. So thank you all.
Do the outline stations have any questions? 71s, do you have any questions?